Hey, what's up guys? Radku here, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today is going to be Cyber Dragon. Now my last Cyber Dragon list was not very good. I have upgraded since then, and I have actually seen how good this deck can really be. So, the idea of this deck is that it can go first really well, setting up a double negate board, as well as being able to take out 3 of your opponent's monsters on turn 3 with Infinity and Dragoon. And then going second, it has one of the best board breaking styles with stuff that can't even be responded to stuff like Dragoon, which is insane. So without further ado, let's jump right into the deck. Starting things off, I play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. This card's absolutely mandatory for your blind second plays. This card's just a free summon that can actually help you get over Winda with stuff like Veer. But honestly, Cyber Dragon is a really good card, and it's one of the card that you summon off of Machine Dupe, which is crazy. Then I play 3 copies of Core. Core is probably your best card in the deck. Core searches out cards like Cyber Load Fusion as well as Cyber Emergency, but one of the better cards that it searches is Cybernetic Overflow, which this card's really good for just being able to remove problem cards as well as setting up disruption. I play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Hers and 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Nashter. The reason I go over these 2 together is because they work really well together. So Cyber Dragon Nashter can discard 1 card to special summon itself, and then hers gains an effect when it's sent into the graveyard. So that's gains an effect to add a Cyber Dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So that's really good. Now there are some ruling issues when it comes to Cyber Dragon Hers, because most of the Cyber Dragons change their name to specifically Cyber Dragon, but then there are some rulings that say, there are some judges that will rule towards them having to be specifically Cyber Dragon, but usually that doesn't come up, and you're usually just able to add back any of the monsters that have changed their name to Cyber Dragon, which is really good. And that's one thing to note about the Cyber Dragon cards, is the fact that they can change their name to Cyber Dragon, which means that you can get like insane plays, including Machine Dupe and plays with Hers and Nashter. On top of the fact that Nashter has the effect to basically just special summon Cyber Dragon from your grave, as well as Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, which is really good for Xyz plays. So then for the one-ofs, I play 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Veer and 1 Cyber Altanen. So Veer is actually a decent card, but there are some times when I want more, and sometimes that I don't want it at all, because like honestly, Veer is the only one that doesn't do anything on its own, because hers alone can like break a board, but like Veer is just kind of meh. Like Veer is okay, but it doesn't really do a lot. But Veer is definitely a decent card, and I'd say it's a solid one of. And then Altanen is my out to Dragoon. It's easily searchable off of Cyber Emergency, and is all in all a really good card that is easily able to be accessed, and is a good way of just clearing a board, because you can send all other face-up monsters on the field to the graveyard, which means that it's a decent out to Dragoon, and it's a good way to just take care of an opponent's board. So for the hand traps, I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom and 2 copies of Nibiru. I honestly just think that these are good generic hand traps this format, as well as the fact that Nibiru hits a lot of decks, save like Eldritch and maybe Dogmatica. But honestly, it's a really good card this format. So for the spell cards, some Saki one-offs, I play 1 copy of Feather Duster, 1 copy of Instant Fusion, which is really good in this deck, because Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon is a target for it, and it can get your plays started like crazy. It's really good. So then I play 1 copy of Foolish Burial, because you can trigger off the effect of hers without putting a monster on the field, which can get you into a Cyber Dragon to do blind second plays. And then I play 1 copy of 1 for 1 to get you into your hers, as well as the fact that it can also trigger off the effect of Nashter. And then for the other spells, I play 2 copies of Cyberload Fusion, 1 copy of Overload Fusion, 1 copy of Cyberload Fusion, and 1 copy of Power Bond. So Overload Fusion is really, really good. On top of the fact that you can trigger it with Verte, so you can easily access it from the deck, which is why I only play 2 copies of this and 1 copy of this. Sometimes I actually do wish I played a Polymerization, because like it's weird because the situation comes up where if I draw too many Cyber Dragons in hand, a lot of them become dead cards in hand, which kind of sucks. But the thing is that this really, really helps just to play these 2. And I'm actually thinking about bumping Verte up to 2, because 2 copies of Verte comes up and it's actually decent. And then Power Bond is for that one random situation where I hard draw Power Bond and I can make something stupid like Chimera Tech or like Twin Dragon, and then easily OTK with a 5,000 attack Twin Dragon. Or I could do the meme play and summon Cyber End Dragon that way, and it's honestly kind of fun to do. I play 1 copy of Cyber Repair Plant. This card requires setup, which is why I only play 1 copy, but it's easily searchable with cards like Core. I play 3 copies of Emergency. This card can get all your plays started, on top of the fact that if it's negated, you can just add it back to your hand, which is really good, and it can trigger the effect of hers. I play 3 copies of Machine Dupe. This card is insane in this deck. It's an easy way to go full combo and get you an infinity on top of that, which is really good. I played 2 copies of Cyber Rev System. This card's easily searchable, not once per turn, and is able to special summon from graveyard. There's plenty of ways to set up your graveyard in a good way. Plus, all your monsters change their name to Cyber Dragon, which, again, that ruling issue just doesn't make sense because they're treated as Cyber Dragon in the graveyard, but still. I play 1 copy of Cybernetic Overflow. This card is really, really good for disruption and clearing boards. So you can banish Cyber Dragons with different levels from your hand, face-up field, and or graveyard, then destroy an equal number of cards. So what you can do with this is you have 4 different levels. You have your level 5, your level 4, your level 2, and your level 1. Sorry, but like still, like, you have insane plays with this. And then even though since Veer also becomes Cyber Dragon, even though it's not always engraved, you can easily use this to clear a board full of monsters. And then I play the Dragoon package because it's really, really good in this deck, on top of the fact that Infinity Pass isn't really that good. So Infinity plus Dragoon, with being able to use the Verte as material for Infinity, actually really, really helps, and it's an easy way to set up plays. So for the extra deck, I play 2 copies of Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. This card's really, really good at breaking boards, especially with cards like hers, which can trigger other effects, and it's really good. I played 2 copies of Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon because this card, while it doesn't break boards as easily, is still a really good card depending on how many Cyber Dragons you have in your hand. Because if you can make like double Fortress Dragon, you can just Xyz for Hope Harbinger and set up another negation, which is actually really, really good. Honestly, Chimera Tech is a solid card, but like it doesn't come up as much as Mega Fleet. So like honestly, this card's good. You could cut it to 1 if you wanted to, maybe make some more extra deck room, but I kind of like it at 2. I played 2 copies of Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. This card is amazing in this deck. So the combo you could do is go Instant Fusion, summon Chimera Tech, use the effect of Chimera Tech to dump a Cyber Dragon Hers and a Cyber Dragon Core. The effect of Hers will activate, adding the Core back to hand. You can normal summon the Core, use the effect of Core to add something like an Overload Fusion, and then you have the Chimera Tech, which has 2 attacks already, and then you can use the Overload Fusion to banish 2 to summon Cyber Twin Dragon, and then you already have 2 monsters on the field that can attack twice and easily OTK. I played one copy of Cyber Twin Dragon because this specifically needs Cyber Dragon and not just Cyber Dragon monsters. So while while Chimera Tech is considerably better than Cyber Twin Dragon, I like to play Cyber Twin Dragon for those situations where you can make this card easier and you already have a Chimera Tech on the field, so you can get a little bit more damage than you already would have. I played one copy of Cyber End Dragon. It's kind of a meme spot. The reason I play this card is because a lot of the times you'll get enough Cyber Dragons in the graveyard to use Overload Fusion to banish them, and then you can summon a Cyber End Dragon and your opponent's gonna be like, what is this man's doing? But honestly, this card's a decent beat stick and it's easily made in the deck. On top of the fact that you banish enough to where Cyber Load Fusion can come up, so you can literally just make this card for free, and it's really, really fun to do. So for the last fusion, I played one copy of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. This card's really good for the deck going first, and it can help break boards going second. So going into the links, I played one copy of Relinquished Anima. I kind of wanted to play more copies of this because this card is really, really good at breaking boards. So what it does is it just needs a level 1 except for a token, and then target a face-up card it points to, and then equip it to it. So this is one of the ways that you can easily break a board. So what you can do is you can use the effect of hers to to summon it, link off into Anima, take control of the monster, then use the effect of hers to add a Cyber Dragon to hand, and then you can easily pop off from there. And depending on what you have in your graveyard, you can add stuff like a core back, and it's really, really good. I played one copy of Verte, and Verte is actually really good in general, not just for the Dragoon package, but also for the fact that it can dump your Cyberload Fusion and your Overload Fusion. So what you can do is you can use them both at a whim to fusion using cards from your graveyard and or banish pile, which is really, really good. I played one copy of Cyber Dragon Sieger because this card is one of your outs to Dragoon. You can easily make a 4,000 to 5,000 body, which is really, really good. On top of the fact that this plus like a Cyber Dragon can out stuff like Winda. It can out a lot of stuff, and Sieger is a solid one of. I wouldn't play it at any more than one because the situation doesn't come up a lot, but it's an easy way to trick your opponent and then have an insane amount of damage. I played one copy of Infinity, one copy of Nova, and one copy of Hope Harbinger. So for the extra slots that you have your Hope Harbinger, your Chimera Tech Fortress, and your Cyber End Dragon. So what you can do is you can actually cut Hope Harbinger for another copy of Nova, cut Chimera Tech for another copy of Verte, and if you really wanted to, you could cut Cyber End Dragon for another copy of Relinquished Anima, just so that you have those backup plays, and honestly, it's pretty good. So that is it for the deck. Let's go over to some combos. So this first replay shows how well this deck can do going second, and I feel like going second is actually one of the best ways that this deck functions because of its insane ability to break a board. So I was going up against Ogdatic, or Ogdiotic, I'm not really sure how you pronounce it, but this guy opened up a decent play. I think he was playing the Orcust variant because he has a Babel in hand, but he was able to summon this, and I really didn't have any disruptions, but he got like a terrible play. Like, he literally went Dragoon Pass, which, I mean, to be fair, it's a decent board considering the fact that, like, Dragoon Pass isn't gonna do much in general, but like it was sad, okay? So I summoned Nastur, used the effect of Machine Dupe. Then he negated it, but non once per turn is fun. So I used Machine Dupe, special summoned the 2 Cyber Dragons. I linked for Relinquish Anima, despite the fact that there was no zones, because I really wanted to get this in the graveyard. So then I summoned Cyber Dragon Nova, so you can detach an Xyz material and target a Cyber Dragon in the graveyard, special summon it. So what I did was I detached a material to summon Nastur, and then I used the effect of Nastur, which is why I didn't use it earlier, to summon the Cyber Dragon. Then I summoned the Infinity, then use the effect of, not the actual effect, but like I summoned the Chimera Tech just to get rid of his Verte, and here's where I kind of made a dumb move, but it still ended up working out for me. So I linked 2 for Sieger. So what I should have done was I just should have used, I had I didn't have zones, which is why I needed to get rid of my anima. So I literally just got rid of the Verte for free. Like literally it just gave my monster more attack, which didn't really mean much in the end. So either way, I actually had a preset out to Dragoon like before the turn even started. So I could have used that, but I preferred to go for this kind of play. So then I just used the effect of Sieger. It gained attack, and he still takes damage, which is something that a lot of people don't understand. With Sieger's effect, Sieger doesn't deal any more damage. The monster it targets still deals damage. So then I used the Infinity, equipped the Sieger so that I wouldn't have just a random vulnerable monster on the field. He tried to go for his Ogdatic plays. I just kind of stopped him after a while because I just didn't want it to go too far, and I knew he was running low on resources. I don't know why he didn't use his Water Lily, because he had enough materials in the grave, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so he could have used Water Lily to further his plays, but he chose not to. So I don't think he had enough materials in deck, but that was pretty much it for this replay. Let's go into one that focuses a bit more on going first place. So this next combo demonstrates how well the deck can work going first. This deck has a very strong board breaking style, and it's able to carry that out really, really well. But if you're forced to go first, you can easily set up a double negate board, and depending on what you have in your hand, you can extend further. So we'll normal summon Core, add the Cyber Emergency. Activate the emergency to search Cyber Dragon Veer. This is one of the few situations where Veer is not necessarily essential to the combo, but it really, really helps it. So then we'll activate Machine Dupe. Machine Dupe will special summon 2 Cyber Dragons from deck, because Cyber Dragon Core's name is treated as Cyber Dragon, so you can special summon the 2 Cyber Dragons. Then you use the effect of Veer to special summon. Now we have double Cyber Dragon on the field, as well as 2 monsters, which means that we can link 2 for Verte, and then overlay for a Cyber Dragon Nova. Now, if this were going second, or if we were going second, there is something that we can do. We can use the effect of Nova to detach 1 and then special summon the Cyber Dragon back. One quick thing is that you can't just detach with Nova and special summon back the Cyber Dragon. You actually have to have cards in your graveyard that change their name to Cyber Dragon, or have an actual Cyber Dragon in graveyard, because then you run the risk of just not, then you aren't actually able to summon it unless you have other targets in grave, which is why that actually is important. So then we could overlay for Infinity, and now if we were going second, what we could do is use the effect of Verte to dump Overload Fusion, banish these 2 from graveyard, summon a Chimera Tech. Then we use the effect of Chimera Tech to send 2 from deck. Usually you would send a Hers and you would send a Core. You can use the effect of Hers to add back the Core to hand, and then you have follow-up plays for later, but right now we're not doing that. So I just overlaid that to show you, or I just put that back so I could show you the actual combo. So then you dump the 3 cards for Dragoon and summon it, and then you could use the effect of Infinity and then equip the Verte to it, and now you have a double disruption board, as well as being able to easily extend past this. This deck actually doesn't die a lot to hand traps, even though like getting stopped on your normal summon does have a really big effect on the deck. You are able to easily play through that, which is why I think this is a really, really good deck going into the format. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, let me know what you thought, and let me know if there's anything you would change about the list. Would you change up the extra deck? Would you change up the Cyber Dragon lineup? Because I know I left a lot of them out. And yeah, that's pretty much it, and I'll see you in the next Yu-Gi-Oh video. Peace, guys.